In 2018, Damien Hirst was accused of plagiarism in a series of acrylic works entitled The Veil Paintings. Advocates for the late Australian Aboriginal artist Emily Kame claimed that there were deliberate similarities between her paintings, made 30 years prior, and Hirst's. In his defence, Hirst pleaded ignorance of Kngwarreye's work, claiming, rather, that his paintings were original, yet inspired by the French Impressionist and Post-Impressionist painters such as Bonnard and Seurat. Inadvertently, Hirst had described a stylistic convergence of little dots or petits points between Kngwarreye and Georges Seurat. The artist's works, though disparate in time and space, do indeed have an affinity. With technical and storytelling ability, they demonstrate the relationships between the landscape and the people that inhabit it. Both artists are affected by and respond to modernity in their use of form and materials. By this, I mean that they are profoundly influenced by the result of the radical transformations in human society unleashed by the forces of urbanization, industrialization, and colonization, which reshaped the globe from the long 19th century onwards. These forces, in the way that they reimagine the relationships between humans, the past, the environment, and other people, have a profound impact on human subjectivity and artistic expression. Georges Seurat's work demonstrates a clear-eyed determination to reframe the parameters of artistic expression. This determination is the foundation for his canonization as a modern master. His first major work, Bailes at Asnières, was rejected from the official salon and was shown instead with the Société des Artistes Indépendants in 1884. This monumental painting, being over 2 by 3 meters in dimension, depicts the urbanizing environment on the then outskirts of Paris, near to where the contemporary skyscrapers of La Défense are today, and the leisure of working-class Parisians who are bathing in the Seine. In this, we see the first stirrings of his abstraction as he uses smaller brushstrokes to divide the visual experience of form, light, and colour. Seurat embraced the Impressionist moves away from mimetic representation of the subject, yet he takes it further. His paintings, from Sunday on the Island of Le Grand Jatte onwards, are post-impressionist in a double sense. Firstly, in that they supersede the Impressionist method of en plein air composition and execution, and secondly, that they are after and beyond his impressions of the subject. Le Grand Jatte was the product of more than 2 years of preparation, countless crayon sketches, and more than 50 preparatory paintings. Seurat's use of dotted obstruction, or petit point, interposes a sophisticated layer of technique between the artist viewer and the subject of the painting, the leisurely bourgeois picnickers. This layer of technique, the rippling system of dots across the canvas, dislocates the viewer from the subject of the painting, as well as the painted figures from each other and the environment, as they are fixed in their endless division into dots of colour, suspended in harmonious contrast. The island and its leisurely inhabitants are central to his early oeuvre. The subjects exist in implied contraposition to the bathers on the other bank of the Seine, as well as form the rear in his next major work, Les Poussus, in which he elevates the Divisionist technique in his representation of 3 nudes in his studio. Seurat's later career was devoted to representing the Parisian nightlife, as well as maritime scenes, until his untimely death due to illness at the age of 31 in 1891. Unlike Seurat, whose talents were quickly recognized by leading figures of the art world, Emily Kngwarreye lived for most of the first 8 decades of her life in relative obscurity. She was born in 1910 in a remote community in the Simpson Desert, 250 km north of Alice Springs, called L'Alcora. Her people are the Amazigh, and she lived on or near to the country of her ancestors for her whole life, developing deep spiritual roots in the place. Kngwarreye's spiritual connection with her country informs our understanding of her artistic practice, as she and her people were able to resist the culturally destructive policies of successive governments. Although her country had been much changed following the expansion of the pastoral industry in the area from the 1920s onwards, the Kngwarreye people persisted and maintained their living culture through language, tradition, ceremonies, and caring for the land, all the while sharing stories of the dreaming, or walia, in their language. Kngwarreye became an important elder and law woman for her people, and in 1979-80, the Kngwarreye became some of the first traditional owners to make a successful land rights claim in the Northern Territory. It was around this time that Kngwarreye first began practicing as an artist in the Western sense. Although painting on the body and objects were essential to the custom and law of the Kngwarreye people, her adoption of batik and later canvas painting gave Kngwarreye new, powerfully expressive mediums to tell her stories. In the early 1990s, she had her artistic breakthrough as she produced massive works telling the stories of the yam dreaming, for which she had a special responsibility as a knowledge holder. Kame is one of these works, and it is monumental in scale in the collection of the NGV. The title Kame, or Kame, is the Kngwarreye word for seed of the pencil yam. The pencil yam is a critical feature of Kngwarreye's country and dreaming, as its long tuber nourishes and its seeds can be ground up and made into damper. Beneath the yam's bright yellow flower, its roots grow horizontally under the surface of dry creek beds. This produces thin ridges that are sung as part of the forming of the songlines in Kngwarreye dreaming, and run through Kngwarreye's country, guiding her people in the law and practice of their ancestors. Kngwarreye's work is powerful as expansive fields of colours and dots act cross-culturally on the imagination. Some critics, however, dislocate Kngwarreye's painterly dreaming from her country through a formalist narrative where paintings such as Kame are read analogously to abstract expressionism. She, however, was clear of purpose, stating, "That's what I paint, whole lot," referencing her understanding of her country, which was alive and transcendent in the dreaming. Little dots, or petits points, occasion the convergence of forms between Seurat and Kngwarreye, yet there's more to it. These paintings by both artists hold within them a narrative of dislocation. Le Grand Jatte suspends its subjects in a picture plane of divisionist technical brilliance. As a viewer, it is hard to relate on a human level to the depictions of bourgeois Sunday picnickers, and you get the feeling that in all their rigid spacing and cold expressions, they feel dislocated themselves, alienated from others and their surroundings. Kngwarreye's Kame describes the dreaming, expressed by the plants and embedded as integral to her people and country. Yet, it is physically and often critically dislocated from country in its alienated appreciation as an art object, resting thousands of kilometres away in the NGV. Both artists, in technical and storytelling ability, allow the audience to see the relationships between the landscapes and the people that inhabit it. Seurat's alienated and dislocated figures converse with Kngwarreye's blooming country, the new civilization of bourgeois Paris in relation to the oldest civilization on Earth. Overcoming these differences, the dots are essential for Seurat's divisionism and Kngwarreye's dreaming, constituting a vision of lives disrupted by urbanization and colonization, yet conversing across time and space.